I audible, Anshu?
Yes, I am. I can hear you. Yeah, so it shows now 2 hours, 59 minutes. It kind of changed there.
We'll wait for 2 minutes. Let's others can try.
Sure.
Participants, am I audible? If yes, please type yes in the chat box.
Yeah, looks like you're audible.
Okay, shall we go without wasting your time? No?
Sure, I'm all
Okay.
set to go. So let me know when to start presentation. I'm all.
Okay, we'll move on to the session. Very good morning. Greetings for the day. Warm welcome to all on behalf of Jaya Group of Institutions. It's my pleasure to welcome you all for this skills-based webinar series. Today we have a webinar on orchestrating digital transformation journey. Digital transformation is the use of new, fast, and frequently changing digital technologies to solve problems. One of the example of digital transformation is cloud computing. It reduces reliance on user-owned hardware and increases reliance on subscription-based cloud services. So likewise, there were a number of digital transformation happens for the past 2 to 3 decades. We are going to hear a lot about the digital transformation from our guest. Please stay tuned to the webinar room till the end. It's my honor and privilege to welcome our guest on behalf of Jaya Group of Institution and all the participants. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Anshuman Das, who is a digital transformation expert and the director of robotics and testing, Warner Bros. Entertainment Inc. It's a very famous organization, our company. Before getting into the session, a few instructions to be followed. At the end of the session, you can find the feedback form link on top of the chat box as a sticky note. I request every participant to click on the link and submit the feedback form. Upon that, the e-certificate will be generated and reaches to your mail. You will receive the certificate within maximum of 4 to 5 days. If you are not able to receive, please bring to our knowledge. Accordingly, we will resolve the issues. The technology used here is purely rely on the strength of your local bandwidth. If you have any audio and video issues, kindly click the reconnect button. It's placed on top of the screen. Don't leave the room. Do not close the window. Otherwise, the connection will expire. Due to some issue, you came out of the webinar room. Again, you have to register and click the webinar link to connect with us. If there is any technical glitch in our side, we will back in 20 to 30 seconds. Do not leave the room or close the window. We will take the questions at the end. If you have any queries, please type on the chat box. Okay, and on the right hand side, you can find there's an option called the queue. Okay, just you can select that if it is a question. With this note, I am very glad to introduce our today's speaker, Mr. Anshuman Das. Anshuman Das is the director of robotics and testing at Warner Bros. Entertainment. In his actually, he's a technology strategist overseeing the development and the implementation of the studio's automation strategy and roadmap. As a leading robotics expert, Anshuman is extremely passionate about advancements in robotics and how AI can be used to unleash human potential. Anshuman works closely with the A&T Innovation Lab and leading external partners to incorporate robotic process automation and other new technology processes across Warner Media. He also collaborates with the various Warner Bros. Business units to address their specific use cases with innovative proof of concepts. Prior to joining Warner Bros., Anshuman was a quality assurance and a digital transformation leader at Broadcom Corporation and IBM, where he introduced advanced testing tools and oversaw quality assurance implementation for global organizations and several Fortune 500 companies. Anshuman holds a master's degree from University of Madras and currently pursuing his executive MBA from University of Michigan, Ross School of Business. He currently lives in California with his wife and 8-year-old daughter. In his free time, he loves to do photography and exploring various national parks with his family. A great pleasure to have you for the day, Anshuman. I am very proud that Anshuman is the alumni of our institution. He has graduated around 20 years back from our institution. With this brief introduction, on behalf of all participants, we welcome you to present. Over to Anshuman.
Thanks, Kumaran. It was nice and of you to introduce me. I mean, Kumaran and I go back more than 2 decades. We were colleagues. He was my teacher, and now he's a very good friend of mine. So there are various relations I had with Kumaran. So thank you so much, Kumaran, for introducing me. And hello, everyone. I'm excited and looking forward to spending some time with you. I don't have too many slides, so I'll definitely not bore you with my slides throughout. Rather, I would like to spend some time with you all to get an understanding of what I do on a day-to-day basis and how digital transformation is going to take us or completely take over us in the next few years to come. So I think that will be my whole objective behind this session today. So with that, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you are, which part of the geographic location you are, and let's get started. So Kumaran, do I click on this? Has it already started? Do I need to do anything? Okay, I got it now. I need to start it. Okay, cool. I hope you're able to see my slides. If not, Kumaran will let me know in case you're not able to see my slide. So yeah, so today's topic, which I'm going to share with you, is all about how you can orchestrate digital transformation in your organization going forward. I know there are a lot of people in this group are students, or there are some working professionals that teachers. So I don't want to go in and deeply about what all required to do this. My objective through this presentation is to talk about how industries are orchestrating today, how we as an organization orchestrate today, and when you guys go into work in the real-time organizations, how you'll be orchestrating today. So that's what I'll be trying to cover here. So I work as Kumaran mentioned, I work for a studio based out of California. And in this studio, I'm responsible for managing some of their digital transformation initiatives, which includes robotics, AI, and machine learning. But I'm not going to talk about that. My focus will be more on very much a transformation journey in digital space, how it is being done today. And anything, if you have questions at the end, I'm more than happy to take. So with that, let's get started. And don't get carried away with this picture of mine. This is a pre-COVID picture, so it looks totally different than post-COVID or current COVID, I'll say, in stage. So they completely look different. So with that, let's talk about what is digital transformation. Now, this definition of digital transformation is pretty much you'll find multiple definitions. I sat through many websites and magazines and some other podcasts to go through the definition. Everybody has their own way of defining it and explaining it. there is a definition which talks about using cloud computing, as Kumaran was mentioning, using AI, machine learning, using IoT devices, using blockchain. I mean, the people define it in every way possible. But I think the ultimate goal of digital transformation is to help business or customers to get better. You connect with them better. You're able to serve them better. You're able to grow your business, and you're able to have a high revenue and high margin at the end. So I think that's whole thing about digital transformation. How we do it under current circumstances, how do you make it easy for every organization, is what makes life easy. That makes it more complicated. So before 10 years back, when first or in 2007, in fact, in 2007, when the first iPhone was released by Apple, the first and foremost thing which came to everybody's mind is that, is mobile going to take over the whole world? Is the way we do business today, is everything going to go through using mobiles? I think that was the first step towards digital transformation, I'll say, or maybe prior to that. But that is where people started realizing that you can capture a lot of things using a very small device, which became an iPhone at that time. Now at that point of time, information technology was all about digital transformation. But what I have seen and what I'm experiencing today is that digital transformation is not just merely in the hands of information technology or information technology as a team, but also for every sphere of the business we work today. It's the responsibility of educational institutions, it's the responsibility of every school you go to, it is the responsibility of every organization, marketing team or sales team, or is it a finance team? Everybody has some form of responsibility to make this whole digital transformation journey successful. So with that, I think it becomes a very, very big organizational change which comes in. So that makes it more difficult, because just implementing a technology through digital transformation is very easy. It doesn't take much time. But what makes it difficult is basically how do you bring the change in the organization? So that's why we say that you have to challenge the status quo. You have to ask people to change the way they work today, change the way they do business today, they change the way they do financial transactions today. So all these things kind of makes it a holistic approach of bringing in digital transformation. So that is how I think digital transformation is all about. And as I said, there is no one right definition of that. Everybody has tried to define it in their own ways, based on their experiments, based on their research, based on their implementation, based on their success and failure both. So I think it's a unique thing, and everybody has the unique opportunity to define what they think or mean by digital transformation. Great. So now that we have got a understanding what digital transformation means based on what I shared now, let's talk about how it looks like today. Now, the next slide, what you're seeing today is pretty much how a digital transformation business model looks like. On the left-hand side, you'll see how a IT or the IT department defines it. It makes people feel awesome, which means they want to make sure their customer experience is better. They have a better way of representing the UI or layer of the app or application or solution they create, which falls in this. They're creating a DevOps culture. They're having an agile culture. They are making InfoSec, which is information security, much more secure. They are making sure every time they use equipments or devices, they are pretty much falls in line with what consumers want. So that all falls in under information technology. So that is where everybody wants to fit in and make sure the technology they build or they serve it for their consumers or business is kind of acceptable and valuable to them. On the right-hand side is all about digital operations. This is where business falls in. When I say business, it is the group within an organization who's trying to make money. So if I'm sure as you start working in an organization, you will find two groups of people which kind of runs an organization. One group of people is basically supporting the organization through various services. Technology is one of the services. Other group of people are business, which basically are running the organization in terms of making money or earning revenue. So that is where this right side of digital operation falls in. So there is engineering group, there's a production group, there's a logistic group, there's sales and service groups. So basically, these people are being served. Now, these people are being served using many applications. Now, I'm sure you have heard of various applications which is being used, like PLM, a product lifecycle management application, or an ERP application, enterprise resource planning application, which is basically, you have many applications. I'm sure you guys would have got a chance to learn, like SAP is a ERP application, Oracle Financials is an SAP, is an ERP application. So there are many kinds of applications which you use to cater to the needs of all the value chain which comes in an organization. Now there comes a technology where the platform, where are you hosting this? Are we hosting it in cloud? As Kumaran was again mentioning, that you have multiple cloud option which kind of goes with various kind of usage. You pay by use, or you buy a very small portion of it, which is private, public, or hybrid, depending on how do you want to use it. So that's where the cloud technology comes. You have big data, which is again another platform which you like to use for your analytics, your data, trend analysis, predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics, depending on what kind of analytics you like to use. You have AI and machine learning. Again, this comes in various flavors and forms. You'll use based on what you want to do, or how smart you want to make your application, or how intelligent you want to make your application. So at the end of the day, if you have good and enough data, your big data, AI and machine learning implementation becomes very, very easy. And then comes some of the things, which is robotics, which is basically a form of advanced automation, wherein people are trying to automate some of their back-end operations of their business. Like, for example, creating purchase order. Today, in most of the applications which is being used to create purchase order are manual. So you automate that using various robotics technology. Or like in your warehouse, you have robots which goes and arranges your warehouse for all your supply chain management business. So it's a various form of robotics which comes in technology, again, as a platform usage. 3D printing, and this is 3D printing as one of the upcoming technology or platform being used today. Now, as we are in this whole COVID situation, and today, most of the organizations which are into manufacturing are using 3D printing to create masks or build masks, which is very useful for all the hospitals, first responders, nursing homes, anywhere which is the best way usage of these kind of devices for treating their patients and all emergency purposes. So I think these technology and platforms are becoming very, very important as we grow. Finally, devices. We have wearables, we have smart watches, we have sensors, we have tablets. How do we use these devices on a day-to-day basis? How do you make sure that these devices are useful and basically interface with these devices in a day-to-day basis? Now, at the end of the day, as I was explaining in my previous slide, the final and ultimate objective of implementing digital transformation is to make sure you make money. You have a better revenue, you have better sales, you have a better gross profit, however you would like to look at it, you have a better ROI. So these are the various ways how you measure how well you're doing, whether your organization has made money at the end of the day or not. Nobody is here for charity. Everybody's here to do business. And so at the end of the day, we have to make sure we make money by implementing all these platforms and technology. So I think to make sure if you're doing right, some of the questions which your marketing team will ask, or your sales team will ask, where are we today? How much of sales have we done in last 10 years? So what is the trend today? Who's our competition? How much of budget do we have? So to get a consolidated view of that, to make sure that we can merge all this data with one another, is what helps a marketing and sales team to get a better lead or better decision-making position. So that's where, again, the technology and again, all the digital operations which I shared on the top of the slide is helpful, and that helps them to take that decision eventually. Now, at the end of the day, you can do this thing with all the IoT technology also. You have e-commerce platform, you have CRM platform, you have complex proposition, which is basically how do you reach out to your customers? You emails, you do a soft calls using phone calls, or you have a self-service online way of reaching out to people. So this slide basically was to walk you through of how a typical digital transformation business model looks like. Now, you probably would have seen implementation of each one of these or a subset of these in your in your educational background, or if you have seen any, if you're working for an organization, you probably would have seen this. But these all models are one way or the other being used. It might be you might be working in an organization, or you might have seen an organization who uses everything, but most of the organization, it lands up uses one or many out of these what I shared so far. So like Amazon is a great example. They basically use most of the models which I have shared here, or Walmart is a great example again, which uses most of the technology or the model which I've shared here. So this is how a typical business model of digital transformation looks like. And I think over a period of time, you'll as you learn eat more through this digital transformation journey, you will see it becomes very easy to orchestrate your model if you know what you are trying to achieve. So in my subsequent slides, I'm going to talk about some of the areas which everyone should focus about. I just picked few areas which is basically to talk about how these models can be very easily implemented, and then you can get better success out of that. Okay, so moving to the next slide. Now, this slide is again an extension of my previous slide. I wanted to bring few more tools or few more platform or technologies, however you would like to call it, today, which is being used in every organization. Like in a media and entertainment industry, or a studio-based industry, they use a lot of AR, augmented reality, for creating games, for creating some of the media interfaces. I already spoke about Internet of Things in my previous slide. Machine learning or machine intelligence is another way. Behavioral analytics is basically to see how your customer is behaving. Those kind of analytics is very useful for any organization to create their next product, or what they should go back and sell in the market. These are some of the tools which is basically used as part of every digital transformation journey. Now, as I decided to have this topic as an orchestration, so basically it is to say that you need all these tools, you need all these tiny technologies or platforms to make sure that you're able to orchestrate your digital transformation journey in a much better way. So this slide is basically to talk, and an extension of the previous slide, that how a model looks like, and how you can either use one of these or all of them, or a subset of it, to make sure that you're able to collect data. Now, why is data today important? Now, the data is everything, and I'm sure you probably would have learned back in school or back in your college that if you don't have data, you cannot do any smart things. You cannot have machine learning algorithms being built. You cannot implement AI. You are helpless, right, without data. So that's why data becomes a big part and parcel of this journey. Now, why is that we are so hung upon data? Is it because we need data and that's why we are running behind it, or what made it easy for us? Now, if you go back, say 15-20 years back, it wasn't easy to extract that volume of data what we need today for our analytics, or what we need for our machine learning and AI to be implemented. And that was because we never had processing power. I mean, today we work on computers or laptops or AWS workspace, which are 32 gig RAM. That is a pretty normal thing. I don't think I ever remember when I started studying, when I was doing my master's, I ever could think of any device which was more than even 500 MB. I mean, those were the days where it was pretty much high, even having 100 MB RAM or overall disk space. So I mean, we have transitioned from that to today, where terabyte of data is nothing. We are talking about another 2 to 5 times the size of the data. Which means the processing power has gone up exponentially by many folds. Next, we are able to store data, so storage space has gone up. Today, storing a terabyte of data is not a big deal. We can store it very easily using a hard drive or an external hard disk. So which means we can store 10 times of few terabytes of data, or whatever naming or whatever storage conventions we use. Third, we are able to get data from various channels. Source of data has grown. and we can easily start collecting data as we grow in the industry. We are able to get industry data across industries, which has made our life much more simpler. So I think with these three things in mind, which includes processing power, storage space increase, able to get enough data across industries, has made our life very simple to make sure that we can implement or orchestrate our digital transformation journey of using these platforms and technologies in a much simpler way. So that's what why I thought I should share this slide with you, to talk about why data analytics is so important and how we're able to get this kind of data and process this kind of data in today's world. Good. Moving to the next slide. Now that I have done a little bit of warm up with what digital transformation is, I'm not going to bore you anymore with anything about digital transformation. I think my next few slides is basically to talk about what's happening in industry in current scenario. Okay, so in the last two slides, you got an idea of what digital transformation is, who are our target or end customers are, why we are using it, why if you don't use it, maybe some of the challenges we might get. I spoke about some of the platforms, which includes cloud platform, your robotics, your AI, machine learning, big data. I spoke about some of the technologies which are being used, and some of the business groups who are really involved to implement it. I also spoke about why it is important for people in the organization who needs this information, or who needs the data, or who wants to do this analytics, which includes marketing and sales teams, so that they can go ahead and do better business, and eventually how we can use some of the IoT-based platform to go and start widely using it. Now, with that in mind, let's pivot to a different side of the world and see how some of the top organizations or top industry based executives and CEOs and digital officers and people are trying to implement it. So what I did is that I tried to share three of the top digital strategies which is being used today in the industry. So first and foremost is the operating experience. Now, I'm sure almost everyone today does online shopping. You use your Amazon platform, you use your whatever platform is local to your country, you use that platform, and it is extensively supporting and helping you, and it is very user friendly, and you are excited and very motivated to go and do shopping. So everybody is aware of it. So this is nothing new. But think of 15 years back. It wasn't that easy. It was extremely difficult for anybody to go and buy or do shopping through Amazon. It wasn't easy. There was nothing called Prime customers. Today, you can buy some stuff and get it on the same day or the next day, or sometimes you can get in the next 4 hours. So which experience has become better. But let me take you to something say 15 years back. I'm sure you must have heard of a company called Best Buy. So Best Buy is a company based out of US, and they also have many other offices across the world, but it is primarily based out of US, where they sell a lot of electronic goods, which includes your TV, phones, refrigerators, anything which is very electronic or white goods. So that is what they're popular for. So in the year 2007, 2008, Best Buy was going through a major challenge because of Amazon, because Amazon was able to sell similar products what Best Buy was selling through online. That is number one. Even though Best Buy had their own online portal to sell their products, but Amazon was still doing it better than Best Buy because of their new experience called as showrooming. So what is showrooming? Showrooming is basically when you go and try to buy a product through a e-commerce site or a portal, it basically gives you a price comparison of the same product across other websites, right? For example, if you go to Amazon site, it will say you that if you're buying socks, so if you buy socks, it'll tell you that how much this socks cost if you go and buy it from Best Buy, or if you buy it from Walmart, if you buy it from Target. I'm just picking some of the retail industries which are selling the similar product. So Amazon was able to do it, and the consumer or the customer was able to compare the price and make a decision based on that. And that is where Best Buy was falling behind, and they kind of took away all the market share of Best Buy. And in 2010, Best Buy was in a very bad situation. They lost billions of dollars in the market share, which completely was taken by Amazon or something other retailers who are doing something very similar. So what Best Buy did after that in 2011, 2012, they came up with an experience where they said that we are not only going to sell products online, but customers can come to our retail shops and also can compare the prices which we are going to match and sell it to you. So which means they were ready to match the prices which Amazon was selling. They were able to match the prices which Walmart was selling. They were able to match the prices which other e-commerce sites were selling. So they continuously started doing this. Now try to think, how was it possible? It was possible because they were able to get data through various API calls which they could bring and make sure that they could publish on their website. So that made their business much more accessible for their customers, much more accessible for their customers to know what others are selling and what price they're ready to match. So if you are in the Best Buy store and you like some product and you see that product is more expensive than what Amazon is selling, you can always use their website to compare their prices with Amazon, and you walk away from the store at the same price at what Amazon would have sold you. So that was the experience they have changed. So you can see the transition they brought it, and the experience they changed for their consumers or their customers. And in beyond 2010, 2011, Best Buy was really doing great, even though Amazon was still a competitor for them. But keep in mind, they changed the experience of their customers. They were able to bring customers to their stores, not only buy the product they were trying to buy, but also take their focus to buy other products which in their store. Which kind of completely changed their experience. So this is one example of how changing an operating experience through digital transformation can increase your business, can increase your revenue, and eventually your gross profit. So that's one way. Second way is focus on your specific problem. So now if you have to focus on a problem, like for example, if you are going to buy a car, you already have some metrics in your mind. You already have some attributes in your mind which you will try to make sure that which will help you to buy the car. So for example, if I'm buying a car, I'll keep the price in mind. I'll keep the mileage in mind. I'll keep how much of benefits I'm getting in terms of what is the car company is giving me in terms of what is the how many times I can do servicing, how many times I can get some of the freebies from the company. So all these things are different metrics which you keep in mind, right? So similar way, if you are able to measure your success of your implementation through a particular metric, that makes your life much more easier, and you can be very easily track whether you are successfully implementing your digital transformation journey or not, or you're able to orchestrate in a much better way or not. Yeah. So let's again take up an example between Amazon and Walmart. Now everybody knows Amazon and Walmart, and again, great retail organizations. They have fantastic website. They have fantastic e-commerce portal. They're able to do business, and they between Amazon and Walmart, even though they target different segment of customers, but they are pretty much sell anything and everything, right? So with that in mind, so they came up. Some of the organizations came up with a metric called as ROTI. So what is ROTI? ROTI means it is return on time invested. Now you will see many of these metrics being used and jargons used in any industry, like ROI, return on investment, is very common. How much I've invested, what is my returns, how much is my cash flow, how much earnings, net profit I had, what is gross profit I have. These are pretty much very common ways of measuring your investment versus your profit. So, but in this whole digital transformation journey, there is another metric which is very commonly used, which is called as return on time invested. So I try to bring some data for you so that you can see yourself how this kind of changed or helped some of these organizations like Amazon and Walmart to increase their digital transformation spend. Now, this is a 2018 data. I was not able to get the latest data. It is still a pretty old data. Even though they are all public companies, we can still get the data. But I wanted to play around with some of the 2018 data to give you an idea. So in 2018, Amazon spent close to, or Amazon revenue was close to 233 billion or $232.9 billion, versus they had close to 647,500 employees. Excuse me. Now, and this included both permanent and temporary employees. Now, with that number in mind, their ROTI was close to $359,671. So that was the ROTI. Now look at the Walmart ROTI. They had much higher revenue than Amazon. They had 495.8 billion of revenue that year in 2018. However, they had close to 2.3 million employees across the world. And again, it is a mix of both temporary and permanent employees. Whereas their ROTI was 217,852, which clearly shows that Amazon had much higher ROTI compared to Walmart, which is close to 67% higher than Walmart, and which means eventually Amazon was doing much better than Walmart as far as their whole revenue is concerned, whole earnings are concerned, based on the amount of money they would have spent on the digital transformation journey. So I'm sure you get an idea of what is that we are trying to achieve here. With the whole objective of showing this math here is to make you understand that when you are implementing something, you need to have you should be able to solve a specific problem. So and to solve a specific problem, you need to have a metric. As I was giving an example of buying a car, you need to have a very specific metric when you are trying to solve a problem. Otherwise you cannot solve it. So it's a very common saying in technology industry. Anything which you cannot measure, you cannot control, right? So in order to control something or solve it, you should be able to measure it. Only if you're able to measure it, you're able to solve it and control it. So I think that's how this is being targeted here. Next one is very interesting, and next strategy, which a lot of industries, especially in the media and entertainment industry, they use it. Identify a competition. Now, before I go into this, keep in mind every organization, whether you are a retail organization, you are manufacturing, you are automobile, your educational organization, doesn't matter. Every organization is here to make money and do business, right? At the end of the day, and they want to see, and everybody's happy when they see profit coming out of it. So when you want into a business and you want to make money, and I think why I want to share this with you, and I keep telling you have to make profit, you have to make you are in business, because once you are out of your school or out of your college, the first thing which you have to keep in mind, you are hired just because that organization wants to leverage your qualities, your skill set, your knowledge to do business and make money. It is nothing else. That is as simple as that. So the earlier you understand, the better for you and better for everyone. And I think for some people it takes time. They think it's all about skill set, which they are worried about. It is not just skill set. They are going to leverage your skill set to make money. And one of my professor in my business school, they told me that if any organization tells you that you are an asset of that company, ask them to show your name in the balance sheet, and they can never show you, which means you are never an asset. You are basically a medium or a channel for them to make money. So you have to understand the whole objective of why you need to help that organization to get better in business, only when you understand what they're doing. Okay, so with that, which means eventually you have to understand their competition. Who are their competitors? And I'm sure it happens in every organization and every business you are in. You have to understand who is your competitor and what kind of threat that competitor can bring to you, so that you can get better. You have a better strategy, you have a better approach, you have a better planning, so that you are able to get your vision or mission which you're trying to accomplish. So with that, let's talk about Netflix. Now, if any organization in this digital journey is only trying to understand their competition, who are their direct competitors, they are making a mistake. The ability to understand your competitor, which is direct and indirect, is very, very important in this whole strategy, which means you have to go beyond your boundary. You have to go beyond your arena to understand who can influence you, that so that they can take away your lunch. They can take away your meal. So I think that makes it very interesting. Now, as soon as you think of Netflix, I'm sure you will be thinking Netflix competitor is Amazon, because Amazon is making something very similar content. So Amazon Prime is their first competitor, or Disney is their first competitor, or anybody who's doing a lot of streaming of content. They are their first and prime or direct competitors. But if you look at Netflix strategy, they didn't consider only these people as their competitors. They wanted to go behind the people or the organizations who are selling magazines, the people who are printing books, the people who are releasing podcasts, the people who are hosting sport events. They said, according to them, if anybody is getting engaged as part of entertainment other than Netflix, that is where we should target. So you can see how interesting it is. They were not just thinking from a very closed boundary. They kind of opened up the boundaries. They said that if anybody wants to have entertainment, it should be only through us. We should be able to provide them every kind of entertainment. If they want to enjoy sports, we should be able to give them. If they wanted to enjoy movies, we should be able to give them. If they wanted to enjoy some shows about cooking or anything, we should be able to give them everything which people would like to use or partake or be part of it as far as entertainment is concerned. So you can understand from here that how smartly and how intelligently they started putting themselves in the market and identifying their competition. And again, the all reason why I wanted to have this is just to make you understand that until you're not creating a platform which you can create an experience for your customer, you are not going to be successful in your digital transformation journey. That is one. And on top of that, if you're not able to identify your problem and focus on the problem by not using a metric, you're not able to create an experience which will help you to get better in that journey. And on top of that, if you're hiding behind saying that what you're doing is the right way and you don't have to focus on doing anything different, which means you are completely ignoring your competition. And your competition is not only ones who are direct to your competitors, but also beyond your boundaries. If you're not identifying them ahead in the game, you will be completely taken by surprise. So keep this in mind, that if you have to orchestrate or if you have to talk about your digital transformation journey, these are some of the 3 very, very important points, and your strategy should be based out of that. And I think most of the organization today is very focused on these 3 strategies. There are many more. I mean, you can start digging out your infrastructure strategy or all those things. I mean, they're kind of very much subset of it, but you can definitely add on top of this. Okay, so this is one slide which I really wanted you to understand and take away as why our digital strategy is important and how some other ways you can create your digital strategy. Okay, good. Now, so far we understood, and again, I'm trying to relate to almost everything possible so that you get to know what we have understood. So we understood digital transformation. We understood how a platform is created. What are the various technologies? We also understood what is our strategy. Now we have to understand what are our barriers. So now this slide I wanted to share with you to highlight some of the industries and what kind of barriers they are facing. And keep in mind, when you start something new, which is very challenging, which is changing your organizational behavior, or it is challenging your status quo, there are always going to be barriers, and it's not going to be a smooth journey. You'll always have some hurdles. So here are a few industries where this is based on some of the data from Digital IQ Insight. It's not my data. I have borrowed this data. So to talk about which are some of the top 4 industries which, when they were implementing their digital transformation journey, how they kind of had challenges. Like, for example, healthcare, they were not able to deliver 49% of their projects which within the 100% of planned scope, which means they had everything in plan, but 49% of companies could not deliver based on what they had planned. Retail and customers say that they had all 42% of that strategy digital initiatives were delivered on time. So again, they were barriers, they were success in these groups. Retail and consumer, based on some of the examples you have seen, were successful. Some of the organizations, again, were not successful. You can still see that only 42%, which means that 58% were still not able to deliver on time. So there is still a very high unsuccessful rate in this particular industry. In the technology side, they said that only 32% came in or below budget of the digital initiatives, which means when you do this kind of journey, this is going to be very, very expensive. It is not going to be cheap, right? It's going to cost you your time, money, effort, everything which you need to put in through to make sure you're putting your right strategy. So you can see that only 32% of the technology initiatives, or technology companies which have done this initiative, were successful within or below the budget. The rest, close to 68%, were still not within the budget, or they probably overspent and went beyond the budget, which really hurts. And then if you look at the utilities company, almost 42% of people say that, or the companies say that they don't have enough skilled laborers for the digital initiatives. Now, this slide is again a very interesting slide to share with you that what are the challenges and some of the barriers each of these industries are facing. So you as students or education professionals or already a professional working in organizations should focus on, and how you can orchestrate your skill set to fit yourself in this digital journey. So you can say that almost the whole skill set over here in the utility sector was beyond what they wanted. They definitely were behind with what they wanted over here. You can see that how much of money they overspent over here in technology compared to the 32% of that people who have done right. So there is definitely an opportunity. There's an opportunity for every industry. There's an opportunity for every individual with what skill set you bring in, or you get into the organization, and how you can contribute. Yeah. So this is one slide which I wanted to bring in this whole orchestration journey, that how some of the challenges and barriers which you can come across. This is not an easy path to follow for any organization. It requires a lot of effort, a lot of contribution in terms of senior leadership effort. It is a both top to down and bottom up approach in every organization, which basically requires contribution for everybody, whether this is a technology person, a business person, or any partners helping them to achieve this journey. Okay. This slide is basically to walk you through various steps. Now, so far I spoke about digital transformation, spoke about some of the platforms, spoke about some of the industries, what they have done differently. Also spoke about some of the barriers and challenges some of the industries are facing. Now, finally, to talk about what are the right steps you should take as a sequential process so that you are successful in implementing it, right? So I spoke about 3 strategies. So maybe the first and foremost thing you can do, or somebody can think about, is that fitting those 3 things in strategy and innovation. Like, we all are in the process of innovation, right? So until we don't do innovation, we are not able to do anything different than our competitors are doing. So that is the first and foremost which comes here. That comes is that how well you know your customers. Have you done enough analysis to understand and learn your customers based on which demographics they are, which location they are, which ethnic group they belong to, and if you're able to make a better decision on that. Next, what kind of automation you're doing? Are you just doing automation based on development using a development platform, or you're doing any kind of automation which is much more smarter and intelligent? Is that something very agile? Is it fail fast and get success as quickly as possible, or how you're implementing is what it talks about. Next is organization. Is your organization ready? That is where the whole organizational change comes in picture. how each and every individual part of the organization, starting from a leadership team to the lowest level of people involved, how they are taking this up. Are they ready for this change? So, and what kind of strategy, their skill set, their capabilities have you taken into consideration when you're trying to implement this? Next is technology. Technology plays a major role in this, but they're not just going to make this happen. They also have to take support of other functions, business functions. But do they have the right approach, the right functions, and they able to build this on a rapid way? So that's where technology comes here. Last, not the least, as I said, data. Data is the new fuel. If you have data, you have everything in your hand. You can play around with whatever journey you would like to start off. How do you want to tweak your journey? How do you want to make your strategy better? How do you understand your customer better? So that is where it helps you to create your goals and strategies eventually. I will say that all these 6 steps, what you see here, is basically a kind of have a dependency on each other. There is no a specific sequence. There is no specific numbering here. You can follow each one of these, and each one of these are equally important, and you cannot miss and go to the next one, or say that I will only follow first 3 and not follow the last 3 and still have a successful journey. So these are some of the blocks which every organization should keep in mind when they're orchestrating their whole digital transformation journey. Okay, so I think this is my last slide. But before I start talking through this slide, my whole objective in this presentation was to walk you through a quick snapshot of what digital transformation is all about, and again, what platform we use in not just in the organization, in the industry I work, but almost in every industry. Some quick examples, interesting examples of what every industry is doing and what they have done something different, and followed by some of the barriers which every industry is facing, and then and some of the steps which any organization should follow to make that happen. Now, with all that keeping in mind, I was very intrigued by one of the quote from Winston Churchill. Now, before I go to this quote, the reason I wanted to share this quote is because we are in a very unprecedented moment in our life. We are in a situation where there's a huge pandemic, and we all are going through this. We have all our challenges, but that doesn't mean the digital transformation journey stops here. That doesn't mean we are not implementing what we had. We had a vision and mission in our mind, or for an organization, they had a vision and mission. That doesn't mean every individual contributing to the digital transformation journey should stop and start thinking something different, right? So as Winston Churchill said, that we should never waste a good crisis. So this is one of the major crises I think almost everybody have seen. I mean, the last crisis, something this happened was in 1918. So it's almost after 100 years, we have seen something major like this, where economic conditions have gone down. People are having challenges going to their office or do their day-to-day activities. But keep in mind, if they don't have any technology or any digital transformation journey which people have done in last 10-15 years, we are having a much worse situation. So I think based on where we are today, we are much better than what if you wouldn't have done. But do we have enough scope and opportunity to get better in next 5 years, so that if at any point of time we have a similar crisis, can we get better? Can we come out of this sooner? Yes, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of opportunity there. I have shared some of the very popular articles which economists talks about how this particular COVID-19 situation can be overcome using digital transformation. So if you at all get this deck sent by Kumaran, try to go to this particular article. This will give you a very good perspective of how the whole world is thinking in terms of the short-term and long-term future of using digital transformation. And the next quote is basically each one of us, either if you're working or you're not working or you're studying or whatever profession you are or whatever you're doing, you'll be constantly keep asking these questions to yourself. Am I doing the right job? Did I pick up the right career for myself? Do I have the right set of qualities? to make sure that I fit in here. So I think that is where you should start asking these questions and see, based on some of the slides which I shared, where do you fit in? Do you fit in as a technologist? Do you fit as a business person? Do you fit as a marketing? If you're doing something in your MBA, or if you're doing something in masters in some other field which fits in the digital transformation. So I think everybody has a scope to contribute to this. It's not just technology person who can say that I'm the only person who can help you to write code. So it is not about writing code, or it's not about spinning up an infrastructure or cloud or any devices for that matter. I think it's a blend of every field of skill set which you can bring in, can contribute to the digital transformation. Now, lastly, every person with the right set of talent can pretty much contribute to this. Now, if you are thinking that just writing a piece of code can help, or writing a piece of ERP can help it, that is absolutely not the way the digital transformation journey is going to happen in the next few years, because you can very well buy technology. It's a kind of a plug and play opportunity here. What we need to do today is to understand our consumers' problem, to understand our clients' problem, to understand our customers' problem, how we can close that gap and make their experience extremely helpful for them to move ahead. So these are some of the next steps I'll say you should try to work on. The ones which is I have few links here. So, and these links are basically some of the experts, what they talk about their next digital transformation journey and what they're thinking about. So feel free to reach out to these links and download if you want, and enjoy reading this. So that's all I had. I'll open up the floor for questions. I'm not sure if I've taken too much time in finishing this, but I open up for questions. I do see some hands. Yeah, there are 5 of them. Kumaran, are you going to moderate these questions?
Yeah, just.
Thank you.
So I have a question from Sanjeev. It's regarding the asset of company. Can you explain it one more time? And that Netflix ROI.
You're talking about Netflix, or you're talking about Amazon, Walmart, or ROTI?
Yeah, both ROI.
Okay, so ROI is basically is a return on investment, and I mean, if you go in the business term or economic term, you spend money, X amount of dollars, and you get money after your profit. You understand how much of profit and how much of return you got based on investment. So I told in a very simple way. This metric which I shared here is return on time invested, and that is because we all spend in every sphere of our contribution in an organization. Everybody's involved some way or the other in helping a digital transformation journey a successful one. So that's why I said everybody has a role to play here. So I gave 2 examples here, Amazon and Walmart. This is a 2018 data again. So Walmart had a revenue of 232.9 billion based on whatever investment they had done on the digital transformation, or whatever investment they had made to make it a successful one. And that was based on the support of 647,500 employees, which are the permanent or temporary. So ROTI is basically you divide the investment by the number of employees, and then you get the number which is per employee, how much was the ROTI, or how much you have received or you have got return based on investment per employee. Same way, I calculated that for Walmart. For Walmart, it was $217,852, which is basically much lower than Amazon, even though Walmart's revenue was much higher than, it was close to double than what Amazon had made, by which you can see that even though Amazon has made less revenue than Walmart, the number of people contributed to make this a successful one was much less than Walmart. So that's why their ROTI was much higher than Walmart, and that makes them a better digital transformation company in this, based on 2018 data. So this is more of based on what is published, and again, I said there might be many other factors which has contributed Walmart and Amazon to be a better retail organizations, but this is basically to see a simple calculation of that. On the other hand, Netflix, what I was talking about is that how do you identify competition when you go in the market to find a competition? You basically see your direct competition. Like if you know Netflix, you'll say Amazon Prime is my competitor. I should only worry about how much Amazon is spending, and I should only keep that in mind. But Netflix style of business was completely different. They looked at the segments where they wanted to dominate every entertainment, which means you get entertainment by reading a magazine, you get entertainment by listening to a podcast or looking at a sports events, for example, IPL, for example, or any ESPN game or English Premier League. Those all are sporting events. So Netflix also wanted to target that. So and make sure that they can get the maximum share out of those sporting events so that their revenue goes up or their sales goes up. So that's why I was saying that it is very important to identify your competition and you go into digital strategy. Otherwise, it's going to hurt you very bad.
So another question, what are the common factors that are projected into digital transformation in any sector in your view?
I didn't get that question. Can you repeat this, sorry?
What are the common factors that are projected into digital transformation in any sector? What's your view?
Common factors taken into consideration for digital transformation. Is that the question?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
So if I understand the question correctly, it's all about improving your business, right? So that is your ultimate target. Now, if you are able to improve your business only when you can understand your customers, right? So I will share one of those thing which is helpful for improving your business is to understand and learn and know your customer, right? So in today's world, you try to know your customer through their sentiment analysis, right? So you have various channels to understand the sentiments of your customer. It can be through social media, it can be through your feedback, it can be through your survey, it can be through your WhatsApp if the data has been collected. So various channels, right? So every time a customer comments, the customer is basically sharing their sentiments. Now, if you can capture that sentiments data of your customer, you can definitely start predicting that how is that I should reach out to my customer, what kind of product I build so that my customer will like, because these are some of the sentiment which customer is throwing, and I can get a better perception of my customer. So that is one factor which any digital transformation you work on, and that is all based on your data and analytics. So this is one, but there are many things. You also try to understand your competition, who's your better competition. You try to understand their market share. That's again data. You try to make your application smarter using a better AI product and interact on interface with your customer better. So there are many factors. There's not one factor. Every industry is different. Every organization is different. Every organization, the way they target their customers are different. So it kind of varies. It depends. But these are some of those.
So I have another question from Jamuna. Sir, now in the present scenario, data science plays an important role. Then what are the things to me learn to get placed in data science field?
No, that's a great question. So yeah, data science, data analytics. These are some of the upcoming fields which everybody's exploring, and we as an organization or any organization for that matter definitely require both skill sets, that data science and data analysts, right? So there are two different skill sets. I'm sure you understand that. So data science is more of people who help to create those models so that data analysts can use those models to make better decisions. So data science, again, you need to be very good in understanding some of the machine learning models creation, which again comes from some of the languages which uses R, Python, or understanding some of the more cloud-based technologies, which is where you can use some of the managed services. Like in AWS sells a lot of managed services for data science skill set resources. So you have to learn those. So it's basically a gamut of many skills. But if you are just getting out of school and you want to understand how do you want to fit into data science, my recommendation will be that you learn some of the ML-based languages, which you can create your own models, which can be used either using Python or R. Get stronger in that, and definitely get to know how you create a learning model and what is that you are trying to get out of it for any customer, and what is the problem statement you have tried to solve it. I think that is what you need to focus on.
So one more question. I am planning for an e-commerce product for purchasing grocery from near shops. Could you share your advice to be a successful product?
Well, yeah, e-commerce is again, e-commerce is one of those portals or sites which you will have lots of competition, right? I mean, everyone would like to sell their product through e-commerce. Now, I think my honest recommendation to you will be that if you're building your own e-commerce site, you need to know what is that product on your e-commerce site which others are not still selling. Somebody else will come and buy from your site. So that is where I try to share who are your competitors, why are you trying to build another site, and what is your differentiator, what is that your uniqueness about your site which will make other customers buy. So if you're able to understand and create your business model around that, I think that is going to help you out rather than selling the same product. If you are selling the same product others are selling, unless you come up with a better promotion, better sales, better marketing, better advertisements, then it's a different thing. But you need to have some kind of differentiator. Otherwise, it's very challenging in this current industry to have another site spin up and try to sell products. So you definitely need to start thinking about what is the uniqueness of your site in terms of your competition and product and other or promotions which you're planning to do.
So there were many questions floating in the question answer box. Just we will take another two questions and we will wind up. One question from Raja. You talked about opportunities in current pandemic. What specific area of has gap as you see?
So if I understand the question correctly, what are the future, what are the current and future opportunities going to come up in pandemic, right?
Yes.
Okay. So again, as I said, our expectations of what we were doing in the industry has not gone down. It is still the same. In fact, it has gone up. So that's why I ended my presentation from one of the quote from Winston Churchill, that every crisis has brought in many more folds of innovation. So every skill set which you have today is going to be helpful. Now, what is going to be more helpful is that that particular skill set can be applicable in this crisis situation, how you can smartly work towards solving these problems. So let me give you one simple example. So if you guys are in your final year projects, if you guys are submitting any kind of next term projects at any semester you're working, or you're creating a model of your own, try to solve some of the day-to-day problems which we are facing and create a project around that. Because when I interview some people, I always like to get people in my team with a skill set who have done something very current, and have contributed to solve some of the upcoming problems and solutions they have brought in. So that is going to really help you. And I think you guys are going to stand out really well if you can put in your resume or your CV to talk about that you have contributed in solving some of the problems which is related to COVID-19. Because keep in mind, this generation of people are on some set of people who will be facing these kind of problems, to know what is a realistic problem and what people had to overcome to face this. And if you can create a solution and you have created a project around it, is definitely going to make your CV look really, really rock solid.
So one last question from Lokesh Kumar. How orchestration plays a role in DevOps markets?
Wow, that's a good question. It's a very technical question. Again, DevOps model. Let me give you one example of DevOps model. Right now, in our world, we do a lot of quality and testing on a day-to-day basis. Now, in the previous ways of quality and testing, people were waiting to finish development and then the testing is to start, or any quality assurance project is to start. But today, with so much of automation, with so much of continuous integration and continuous development being part of DevOps, it has made life simpler. So which means as soon as a developer checks in his code, the whole package of testing, which is being managed through CI/CD in the DevOps model, makes your life simpler, right? And the testing can automatically go and get started. It can publish its results. So you see that whole strategy of a portion of DevOps over here made your life so fast. Your testing window has gone down. Your way of testing has gone better. You do much more exhaustive testing because you have automation implemented in it. So I mean, you can roll out your product. Your time to market has reduced. You become faster going into the market, which means you are able to reach out to customer much faster than today. So that's eventually impacting your digital transformation journey. So I say by changing a very small piece of orchestration within DevOps using CI/CD has made your organization perform better than what it used to do before.
Thank you. It's another important announcement for the participant. You can find a feedback form link on the top of the chat box as a sticky note. I request everyone to click on the link and submit the feedback form, so through which the e-certificate will be generated and reaches to your mail. You will receive the e-certificate within maximum 4 to 5 days, so you can wait for that. And so thank you very much, Anshu. I hope everyone enjoyed the session. So during the pandemic situation, there were lots of digital transformation happened than ever. Thank you very much for your inspiring speech. On behalf of the Group of Institution and all participants, once again, I thank you, Anshuman. At this juncture, I place my thanks to our Chairman, Professor A. Kanagaraj, our Secretary, Ma'am, Mrs. K. Vijay Kumari, our Vice Chairman, Engineer K. Navaraj, our Principal, Dr. K. Swamiturai, and all my colleagues who rendered their support for conducting this webinar series. And important announcement to participants, there will be a series of events, its upcoming events by next week. Next we will again we will meet on 26th at 6 p.m. We have a topic on data in action by Mr. Venkatachalam, who is Director Advanced Technology Group from Samsung Group. He is talking from UK. And the next day, 27th, we have a topic on disrupt, innovate, and transform in the era of COVID-19 by Dr. Daniel Chellappa, who is an eminent nuclear scientist. And the 28th, we have a topic on the world of cybersecurity by Mr. Sriram Swaminathan. He is a security specialist from Bank of Ireland. He is also talking from US. And 29th, we have product lifecycle management, how computer program transform the engineering world by Malini Santanam, who is a deputy manager in WAPCO. So these are the upcoming sessions. I request everyone to connect for the program. Thank you all for your active participation. Thank you one and all. We will meet again on 26/5/2020 at 6 p.m. Until then, signing off. This is Professor Kumaran. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.